So look, we know what the R is. It's times 10. The N stays. Okay, so the only issue with explicit is your y-intercept, that initial term. It has to start at 0 though. So I know they call it initial term, but it's really your y-intercept. You have to give me the value at n equals 0. So whether you go to a table, but the table's awesome here, or if you go to a graph, the graph doesn't help you on an exponential because it has that curvature. So you're like, yeah, I don't even know where it goes. Okay? So here's what I mean. So if we look up, if we look at our table, I need this 0th term. That 0th term value is my y-intercept. That's what you need for your initial term. So if you're going times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10, if I want to go backwards, what's the inverse operation to multiplying? Dividing, right? Right, you guys said it. So instead of multiplying by 10, I'm going to divide by 10. So what is 1? If I want to go backwards, what is 1 divided by 10? So 1, can you guys see? Yeah, 1 divided by 10 is 1/10. Right? So you inverse operate. 1 divided by 10 gives me 1/10. Okay, so my y-intercept is 1/10. That's your y-intercept. That is what gets put. Can I squeeze both in? I know we're doing explicit rule, but let me just kind of bring it up so it can be next to it. So this is my y-intercept. So there's my 1/10. I'm multiplying by 10 as I move through, and then n. And that is your explicit rule. If some of you want the decimal and you want to plug in 0.1, 10 to the n, that's acceptable. It's up to you guys. And I'll get them equally from you guys, so whatever you feel comfortable with. Okay, so even though we did the table's helpful, even though we did the graph was not helpful because there's no way if, say, you were going to hypothetically like, well, I know I'm not supposed to connect the plots, but if I did, okay, I know exactly what that number is. Like, there is no clue. There's no way. You're not going to know that that's 1/10. So the graph on exponential functions isn't very helpful for you, the graph. I would go with the table, and that's where you'll get a lot of tables from us. And then, of course, the pattern at the top, you could always backtrack it. So to backtrack the table, the pattern written horizontally, that helps. The graph, not so much, but we'll still show it to you, just so you guys get that visual consistency. Okay, yeah, fair enough? Okay, so let me stop it.